Good morning. Sometimes our thought lives feel like a battleground. Even there's books written about that, just the battle of our thoughts, right? Because not every thought that you have comes from you. And so sometimes things just come in and you go, oh, where did that come from? And it might come from an image. It might come from something in your past that just catches up with you. It might come from a whisper of the evil one. It might come from someone else's words. It might come from just a association of some kind that you have. But man, the battle of our thoughts is real, and we experience it and we feel it. So one question you might have is, Brian, what would be the basis for me even being able to engage in thinking on virtuous things? How would I do it? And maybe before we get to how, is it even possible for me to do that? And I want to just give you some verses to encourage you that if you're in the battle of the mind, there is great hope, but the hope isn't in you, of course, it's in Christ. And the Bible teaches us this in Colossians 3:1-4. If then you have been raised with Christ, because Christ was raised, you've been raised, then seek the things that are above where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Now your seeking is based upon the fact that you have been raised because you have experienced participating in his resurrection because of your belief and trust in him. Verse 2, set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth, for you have died. This is the basis. You can set your mind on things above, not on things that are on the earth. How? By the force of your will? You can do it because of what he's done. You have died. And your life is hidden with Christ in God. So verse 4 says, when Christ, who is your life, appears, then you will also appear with him in glory. You have died and your life is hidden with Christ in God. You are hidden with Christ in God, this double binding. Now that's significant. And there's a lot we could talk about the security you have in Christ. But for our purposes, I want you to see that the capacity for you to have a kind of thought life that gets into virtue and out of vice, that gets into the lofty things of God and out of the things that draw you low, that is set above rather than down below. The capacity for that is rooted in the fact that you're a new creation in Christ. The old has passed away, all things have become new. That is, that now you have renewed capacities because you have been raised with Christ, because you have died. In other words, because the gospel has come into your life. So be encouraged. You're a Christian. Don't feel like I'm lost and I'll never be able to win the battle. Not true. Not true. Because you start with your identity and you move to your action. May the Lord bless you today.